Hello, everyone. So we are now moving to week number 7. Halfway of the course has been passed. I hope your learning about object-oriented programming has been going well. We just introduced to you the ideas from last week, but the pace is going to be still smooth, but it's going to be a little bit intensive, meaning that we have to cover materials actually in a short period of time. That's just the nature of university courses. However, if there's any extra materials you think I can create to help your learning, please let me know. Otherwise, I think the tutorial videos and also the written notes, which I will show to you in the video. So I think these two should be enough, and also plus the lecture, of course. So these 3 items should be enough for your learning. If you need any extra explanation, either attend the Q&A, attend the office hour, or simply just drop me an email and then we can arrange some time to go over any questions you might have. Okay, that's hopefully that's going to be the best we can do to arrange for your learning. All right, let me just remind you very quickly, you should always go very closely with our semester calendar. You can see this is what we have been following along throughout the semester. You can see we are now currently around here. Okay, so when I'm recording this video, it's about Sunday, February 28th. So we are now at the end of week number 6. So we still got halfway, slightly less than halfway to go. But I really want to draw your attention to notice the assessment that we're gonna have for you, right? It's being arranged since the beginning of the semester, but I want to remind you. You can see in the coming week number 7, we got your programming test number 2. In the following week, we got written test 2. And then the next week we got programming test 3, and then we have a little break, and then we got your programming test 4, and then followed by written test 3. So it's being scheduled like that. So I just hope that you actually aware of such assessment that's they're actually coming. For every assessment, we'll make sure we give you some study guide at least about a week ago, a week in advance to really help you study. But I think for your programming test 2, we have already released the programming guide and also the practice test way in advance before the reading week. So I hope that one you're okay. For your written test 2, I will release the study guide for you very soon. But as long as you have been following through the tutorial videos weekly and also the lectures, you should be alright for your written test and etc. Alright, so please refer to the calendar on a regular basis so you would know what's really coming. I try my best to really stick to whatever items we have already outlined in the calendar, right? So we have some mutual agreement. Okay, let's talk about this week. Okay, so for this week, we'll continue with our discussion about object-oriented programming in Java. And this week, we go back to the normal load for 2 hours of the lecture. I know you have to take care of the 2 hours of tutorial videos and 2 hours of the lecture. That's something we already specified in the syllabus in the very beginning. That's the expected workload for this course. So I'm afraid for that one, it's really hard for me to really reduce. Otherwise, I'm worried that it might compromise the learning of some of you who are really new beginners to the object-oriented programming. I'll keep the materials over there. If you really have to skip them, I cannot stop you from skipping them, but you have to skip them at your own risk. That's something I would like to say. But if there's any further advice you want to ask me, please just get in touch, and then maybe I can give you some further advice. All right. Let's say for this week. So we're going to basically, you can think about this part over here. For the first 5 videos, I'm simply just going to, in some way, you can think about it's two purposes. One is to reiterate whatever that's already covered in your week number 6 and 7 Java tutorial videos about reference aliasing and also about defining classes, creating objects, defining methods, and etc. Right? So in some way that reiterates. However, it will also somehow complement your Java tutorial because there are certain concepts which I didn't really say in detail in the tutorial videos. For example, let's say variable shadowing, and also what's the design strategy for method parameters, and also what will be the legal versus illegal usages for the accessor versus mutator methods. Those issues were not really discussed in detail in your Java tutorial videos. I try to cover them in more detail over here. But so I would say there might be some parts you can maybe go through more quickly, but there will be some part you really have to study more carefully because that will be the first time you see the materials. Okay, and then the next two parts for the week will be about aliasing. So that's the part I think that's really important for you to learn. Okay, so this will be aliasing. Okay, so notice one thing here. This is not a repetition. Not a repetition of your tutorial. In your week number 7 Java tutorial videos, I also spoke about reference aliasing, but I think in the tutorial videos, I try to go with more hands-on experience about how you can see debugger and how you can visualize stuff, and also some example there, and also JUnit tests. That's definitely something I focus on. But for this week, if you look at these two videos, they really cover the more in-depth knowledge about reference aliasing. Especially for the last video, I spoke about how you can combine loops, arrays, and reference aliasing. So that will be some challenging example for you to solve. And of course, I go over with you the solution thoroughly as usual. All right. And then you also got your iPad notes about all the tracing about the tracing details, and also all the notes which I mentioned. Right, it's already there. And then it would be, of course, very important for you to finish the Java tutorial videos as usual. Very crucial. Okay. And then for the lecture notes, please note that we actually updated the slides as of today, February 28th. So you want to make sure you download the latest PDF. It's really important. And then post your questions on the documents. And then I also included the two examples I spoke about in the lecture, the point example and also the person example. So you can download them, import to your Eclipse, and then you can play with them. You can feel free to extend it or fix it. Okay, it's up to you. And then I want to speak about two important written notes. I said they are required over here. Okay, so we got two written notes over here. One is about how you can infer classes and methods from JUnit test. That's actually one of the that's what it require readings for your lab number 5. So presumably you have already read it. If you haven't, I would suggest you do it as soon as possible. It's really important. And also there is another written notes over here, so which I just introduced in your week number 7 Java tutorial videos. So that one is really about how you can manipulate reference type and also multi-value attributes. So that means once you declare the attribute using array, of course, we're going to use primitive array. You're not really allowed to use a library, okay, as still. And then array, and also it's going to be using also loops as well. Okay, so you will see the manipulation. You will have to read the notes. Let me just go over, just tell you where the notes are. I also included links over here. Okay. So let me just go there and show to you very quickly. So you can see this, first of all, this is the notes about deriving classes and methods from JUnit tests. So that will be the formats for your lab number 5 and 6, and also your programming test number 3. So I will release some study guide for you to emphasize that. But you definitely have to make sure you understand the strategy over there. Otherwise, you will get lost for your programming test. Another document I want to talk about is this is the new written notes I just made available. It's about point and point collector and point collector tester. It's really critical for you to finish these written notes. So once you finish these written notes, and then next week when I release the week number 8 Java tutorial videos, I will also go over with you about some parts of that. And then using our fitness clock example. And then for next Sunday, when I release our week number 8 lectures, I will also go over this particular example in detail. However, you do not want to wait, because just let me remind you about the timing over here. So if you only wait to read the notes about this particular point collector around next Sunday when I release the lecture, if you really wait for me, you can see the following week you already got written test 2, which will cover that particular programming pattern. So you do not really want to waste your time on waiting me, right? So I would suggest over here, you really want to go over these notes as soon as possible. That one is also going to help you tremendously for your lab number 6. I cannot emphasize that enough. All right. Okay, so that's about the written notes and tutorial videos. And for those of you who still want to do some extra exercise, you can also go over video 34 to 38 from the Winter 19 tutorial videos, right? For those of you who want to do extra work, of course. All right, and lecture site, if you want to get access to any study materials, and let me just go over quickly about the learning objectives and also milestone for this week. So we're going to review, reiterate, and complement the ideas about object orientation. Okay, especially you will see the templates versus instances. So this is really crucial. And then later on, you will see in the context of Java, templates are just classes. And also instances are simply just objects. All right. So that's really something you want to review for the lectures. And of course, it's really crucial to distinguish between classes and objects, right? One is about compile time, and the other one is about runtime. And we're going to say about, in order for you to define a class, what will be the ingredients you want to include in the class? It will be attributes, constructor, accessors, and mutators, right? And we talk about two important keywords. One is called this. The other one is called new, right? What will be the purpose of using these two keywords, right? You should really know. One is about creating new One is about creating new objects, and the other one is really for you to disambiguate about, for example, to qualify the attribute access to say this variable access is really for the attributes, right? And also we talk about very important concept called context objects. You really need this concept in order to trace your object-oriented programming programs, and also the dot notation. Okay. So whenever you have some context objects over here, and then you say dot, and then something over here. And the question mark here can be either attributes, it can be accessor methods, or it can be mutated methods, right? And next week in the lecture, I will generalize this notion about dot notation to show you can have multiple dots. You can say something dot, something dot, something dot, something. As many dots as you like, as long as they are valid. All right? And then finally, it will be very important for you to really practice about how to trace and visualize OO programs, about object creations and method calls. I did the exercise thoroughly also in the tutorial videos, but also in the lecture, I also try to do with a different example. So really make sure you can do it. It will be very crucial. All right. All right. What about milestone for this week? So make sure you get ready for your written test 2. And to really do that, you want to make sure you also you definitely review the lectures and also the weekly tutorial videos up to now, basically, right? And then you want to start with your lab number 6, and you can look into the PDF instruction for your lab number 6. They actually say the required study material, especially the written notes I spoke about, right? And Java tutorial video will be very important. And then you want to complete the current lecture series, week number 7. And then for the written notes, so these are the two written notes I spoke about, these two, right? Very, very important, okay? And if you want to do extra practice, it will be video 34 to video 38 for the Winter 19 tutorial series. All right, so that's about week number 7. I think we got less than halfway for the semester to go, but we still got important topics for you to learn. So you really want to keep up with the pace. I understand that after the reading week, all other courses will also get more intensive than maybe before the reading week. It's simply just true for every course. I would say the best I can suggest, look at all the deadlines you're supposed to hand in for every course, and then plan your time accordingly. So make it deadline driven. Okay, and then so workload will be as usual. It wouldn't be you'll be no more, but also no less. So you really want to keep up with your pace. Don't really wait until the last minutes to really start your work. It's not really good for your learning. All right. Anyway, that's about what I want to say for this week. Off you go, do your work, and good luck. And if you got any questions, as usual, please get in touch, and then I'll try my best to help you. All right, take care. Have a good week.